To be honest, with Conor's fight IQ, with Conor's understanding of the game, really this training camp is about all of us getting out of his way. So provide him an environment where he can have different looks, different feels, and support him where he wants the training camp to go and intensities, and listening to him where he has days where he wants to push hard and days where he wants to slow down. So it's not so much about, us coaches sitting down a game plan and then filling Conor in. Conor knows more about fighting than the rest of us put together.
Welcome back to The Art of Violence. Today, what we're going to talk about is John Kavanagh's most recent interview with Lorisenko after the Conor McGregor fight. He said some very interesting things that are very controversial, and I'm going to be honest, in some ways just seem to not make any sense at all. So we're going to be breaking that down here and kind of taking a little bit of a deep dive into it. I've seen, even in the first rematch with Dustin Poirier, the rematch that they had, Dustin Poirier and Conor, I saw some things that John was saying that just weren't adding up and seemed very weird. That kind of led me to start questioning him a little bit. And after watching this interview, I'm going to be honest, makes me kind of question him even more. So he says some very interesting, controversial things that kind of almost seem like they could have led to Conor's downfall. So we're going to be breaking it down, maybe giving a different perspective on it right here. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's talk about the fight.
All right, let's talk about the fight. Obviously before the end, what were your takeaways from the exchanges that they had on the feet? What were you liking there?
Okay, now this is a really long interview, so what I'm going to do is go through and find the parts that are worth kind of breaking down and going over and kind of cutting out the rest. So that's basically what's going on here. If certain things, contexts kind of seem like they're missing a little bit, that's why. I'm just going to be kind of breaking down the parts that are a little controversial and worthy of a breakdown.
I think it was about the halfway point then there was an exchange where Dustin landed a good cross and he pushed Conor back one or two punches, and then there was a clinch that went to the fence. And we drilled a lot in this position. I studied Dustin a lot on defense and his fight with Holloway, for example, and we knew that head would be there for the guillotine. So we had drilled that a lot.
It looks tight.
He has a wicked guillotine. Conor has a very, very strong guillotine. A slight tactical error going to his back with it. We had drilled and aimed to finish that on the feet, or at least if it didn't get the finish on the feet, it would make the takedown attempt go away, and then we're back to the center of the octagon and get back to boxing.
So this here actually does make sense, and I actually do agree with, right, putting the guillotine on Dustin in order to thwart off a takedown, attempt and to dissuade him from doing it further. Conor already has good takedown defense, but obviously this would have been added in as part of that. Now, I know John says this is a small tactical error, but let's be real, this is a huge tactical error. Why? I mean, the fact that Conor, the only reason they went to the ground was because Conor jumped guillotine. If he hadn't, Dustin wasn't really even close to taking him down. Conor was defending very well. Conor has very good takedown defense. And then when it got to the ground, Conor didn't even try to get up. He tried to beat Dustin up from the bottom and ended up taking more damage. So it's like, this is a big, big deal. Conor can't be making mistakes like that. And if he is, he needs to have a coach to tell him he's in the wrong and he needs to stop.
Even how he got off the fence with the guillotine, for those who like guillotines, and to see how he used the kind of standing, I call that the standing butterfly hook, where it's almost like he offers a single leg but makes that butterfly hooks type frame with the shin against the inside of the hip. Got lovely separation on that. Maybe that'd be the time to chase the high elbow a little bit more or look for the separation. However, as somebody who likes guillotines myself, the temptation to try and throw that leg over the back and just get the finish is very, very strong. And, Conor was the one that was in there. He must have felt the grip was right, and he went for it. And that's what fighting's about.
Now, I do agree with John Kavanagh. He is right. Fighting is about improvising and capitalizing on situations, or creating situations and then capitalizing on them. But, unless Conor has submitted high-level guys in competition or in the training room, unless he's submitting world champions, this isn't the time to practice your new little trick that you got. It's like you're fighting a world-class competitor in Dustin Poirier, who has very good, submission defense and very good jiu-jitsu. This isn't a time to try something new, let alone jump guard and go to the ground where you're not going to submit him or really win on the ground. I would say Conor's probably better overall on the ground than Dustin is. Funny enough, it didn't look like it because he, when it got to the ground, he pretty much just sat there, didn't even try and get up. He almost tried to fight Dustin from the bottom, which was really stupid. You see in the first fight, Conor popped up right away. But the fact that he went to the ground and John is kind of okay with that, it just kind of tells me that maybe they didn't have a really solid game plan, or they didn't take time to really develop what Conor should be doing. Because the fact that he's doing something like this in a fight with Dustin Poirier, it just doesn't really add up or make sense. It's almost like Conor's kind of running the show here, running his camp.
So all in all, up until that point, let's say that's almost 4.5 minutes, I wasn't concerned at all. I was actually really, really happy.
So even right here, he says, I wasn't concerned at all. I was actually really, really happy. Now, this is interesting. I kind of get where he's coming from because it's not really like Conor got dominated. He got caught with a few punches, made a stupid decision, jumped guillotine, ended up on his back, didn't try to get up. But it's not like he took fight-ending damage or even damage is really going to affect him. I mean, arguably he landed just as many elbows as Dustin did on the ground. Dustin's face actually looked more marked up after the fight than Conor's did. And it's obvious that Conor actually did block the vast majority of the strikes when he was on bottom. But what John Kavanagh should be worried about is that Conor just made a terrible decision and then chose to stay on bottom without really ever attempting to get up. For 2 minutes. That would worry me. His fight IQ is what worry me. The fact that he's making those stupid decisions, I would say you need to be worried about that. And I would say there's probably things that happened in the camp that led to Conor thinking he can go to the ground and submit Dustin and then stay on the bottom and can think that that's a good option for him. So that's a little troublesome.
So look, at the 4.5 minute mark, even 4:45 mark, everything's gravy. I thought energy looked good, technique looked good. Few adjustments in between rounds, and I thought round 2 we were well on track to getting possibly finish it there, or at least keep going. Keep the rhythm going for the rest of the fight.
Again, here, what's going on inside John Kavanagh's mind where he actually thinks Conor is going to get a finish the next round with the dumb decisions that he's making, and to think that, everything's okay, I wasn't worried. Dude, most people would say, you should be worried because Conor's taking a beating. I'm worried because Conor is deciding to not even try and get up and stay there and try and strike with Dustin from the bottom, and is taking the worst end of the damage for the most part. He's not even trying to get up. I'm worried for Conor's mental state. I mean, why is he making such stupid decisions? These stupid decisions are going to lead him to lose the fight. And honestly, if that fight had continued and Conor kept fighting dumb like that, I think honestly he probably would have gotten TKO'd from just making stupid decisions and being so hungry for a KO to the point where he's willing to sacrifice positions and just, put himself in unfavorable spots.
To be honest, with Conor's fight IQ, with Conor's understanding of the game, really this training camp is about all of us getting out of his way. So provide him an environment where he can have different looks, different feels, and support him where he wants the training camp to go, and intensities, and listening to him, where he has days where he wants to push hard and days where he wants to slow down. So it's not so much about us coaches sitting down a game plan and then filling Conor in. Conor knows more about fighting than the rest of us put together.
Now, I wanted to play this last clip to really summarize, everything I've been talking about, because in this video, based on what John is saying, he really does kind of encapsulate everything I've been trying to articulate in this video. And this was back when the Donald Cerrone fight was happening. This was an interview that they did of John Kavanagh back then. So clearly this has been happening for well over a year now. And honestly, this has probably been happening for several years. And this is a real problem in Conor's camp. I mean, there's a good chance this has been happening, since before the Khabib fight. And, based on how Conor fought and just kind of stood there in the middle and almost, kind of tempted Khabib to take him down and, kind of just let him shoot in. This has probably been happening for a long time, to be honest with you. And it just goes to show you, when you reach a certain level, if you don't have the right people around you, it does get to your head and it will, consume you. And Conor apparently does not have the right people around him in terms of coaching to tell him what to do and to really give him that sort of guidance. So, hopefully this isn't Conor's downfall, but it appears it might be. It's going to be hard for him to come back and really get on top again. We'll see if he can do it. But anyways, I've noticed this about Conor's camp for a little bit, and I kind of wanted to just highlight it. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Be eager to hear what you guys say. I will make sure I comment back as well. And as always, until next time.